Excuse me. Afternoon all. Sorry. How are we all doing? Making sure I'm on. I've been recording, so go away, fly. Little fly bugging me. Yeah, I've been recording a video for the stock index hedge strategy. So just checking all the settings are correct. Hopefully you can see me and everything's okay. Afternoon, Danny, Ian, John, Fletch, Andres, Gregors, Emac, JC, Baggy, Amy, Peter. Afternoon. Paolo. I was just checking the so stock index hedge, EA, every tick. Screenshots. Where's screenshots? There. True. I'm just doing this for Peter because he's having a problem with the screenshots, just to test it. So, set it to full whack. Let it do its thing. Right. The family kebab house in Pontypool. Spam. Okay, so file. Data folder. Tester, files, index scalper, files. Is that the right one? Hang on. Let me just start that again. There you go. They're appearing. It works fine, Peter. Well, mine works fine. Put it that way. I don't know any reason it wouldn't. I'll think of one anyway. Afternoon, Jimmy, Neo, Virginia, Emac. Might address a broker with no digits in the video. Might recognize that comment from Telegram. Yeah, it doesn't work. If you haven't got any broker if you haven't, actually, Emac, it's not that. I've put a note actually on the EA description here. Note, this strategy in EA is not suitable for brokers that force one lot increments. Ensure your broker allows you to trade 0.01 lot increments. So the problem isn't the fact that you haven't got any digits after the decimal. That's not the problem. I've tested it. I've tested it in True Forex funds. True Forex funds. It works absolutely fine on FX pairs on True Forex funds. The problem is that True Forex funds do not allow you to trade micro lots. They force you to use one lot increments, and there is a rounding part of the EA which rounds. Well, actually, all EAs. It's in MT4 EA functionality. It rounds lots. You can't round a 1, so it doesn't work on. And I have to say, if you are using any broker that forces you to use one lot increments, run. It's shit. Nobody on the planet now, there isn't one broker. I checked, right? When you sent that message, I went in to try and find a broker that doesn't have a zero after a decimal after the decimal. Not a zero, one digit, no digits after the decimal even. I opened up all my brokers, of which I've got, I don't know, 7-ish. Not one. There isn't one broker out there that I've got an account with that does not allow micros. Micros, in the old days, it was quite hard to find somebody that let you have micros or minis. Everybody was forcing you to use single lot increments. Why? Because you can't control risk on a single lot. Yeah, you want to go 1 or 2. So it's either too much or far too much risk. There's no little bit of risk. They don't exist anymore. So True Forex funds, as a prop firm, dump them. They don't allow you to trade proper increments. Get rid of them. DOW X has a contract size of 10 on the DAX. That's it. No, my DOW and X doesn't. My DOW and X is micros. I've been trading DOW and X for years. They're not tens. They're micros. Look, this is DOW and X. I don't know any brokers that do not use micros now. It's such an archaic thing not having micros. Afternoon, Brian. XR update.news, Peter. Everybody else, Kennerly. Restarted MT4 and screenshots okay. I had a weird thing today with mine doing that as well. But not with the exports from here. From when I was recording the video, the actual recordings didn't appear in the folder, which panicked me for a bit because I spent an hour and a half recording a video. Then I went to look at the video and it wasn't there. Restarted it and it all came back to life. So I think Windows is having a funny 5 minutes. James or J3GM0194, I don't know what your name is. You have DOW and X0, that might be the problem then. Again, they're forcing you to use an incremental lot size that is probably not conducive to running professional risk. Afternoon, Evans. IC Markets is one. Yeah, IC Markets, that's why I left IC Markets. They do not allow micros, so I left them. Get rid of them. No need these days. Trade the risk that you want. The risk, trading 0.01 lot size means that you can use virtually any risk you want on any account size in any currency. You are 100% in control of everything in your portfolio. If they force you to use micro lots of 0.1 increments or full lots, they are forcing you to over risk and over leverage. That's why they do it. So if they do that, go somewhere else. There's thousands of brokers out there. Market's about to open 1 minute. Market's about to open now. Sorry. So I will talk about other stuff in a minute. Pre-market range too tight on the NASDAQ. Dow, I'm trading too tight on the S&P. So only pre-market range, I'm taking is on the S&P. DAX this morning, not the Dow even, but I've been talking far too much today. I've been recording a video all day today to do with this strategy. And I've been editing it for the last hour, and hour and a half. And I'm just over an hour into editing. And the video is going to be about an hour and 20, an hour and 30. So I'm nearly there. But I've just been talking all morning and concentrating on me talking back to myself all morning. So, DAX this morning, pre-market break, absolutely beautiful if you're here in the live room this morning. Straight up, straight out, done. $1,800 banked. Pre-market range break to the downside on the Dow today. So downside risks today. Whoops, for the Dow. We've got the pre-market lows initially, which is 2R to the downside. And then we've got this nice propulsion move. So that high and that high there, potentially, which is 5R for a downside bounce. ADR is absolutely miles away because we've gone absolutely nowhere. Totally sideways today in the Globex session for the US indices. Really hasn't moved at all. So we've got an awful long way to go, as you can see, to ADRs. Big potential moves on the cards today if the market decides to move. So news-wise today, we haven't got any. So there is no news today. The only news we've got coming up, the start of the news coming up this week is tomorrow with the PPI figures, which are forecast basically to be down, which will be bearish. So there's no news today. So I'd be very surprised if today we get an awful lot of movement. because they're not really going to want to move too much ahead of the PPI and FOMC and CPI. That's the big one, Thursday, CPI, when we get the inflation figures. So I wouldn't be surprised to see not a massive amount of movement today, but we'll see where we go. But fairly strong open there. Had to go back 20 minutes to find a range that's tradable today. So nice big opening range candle, but we will see where we go from there. So yeah, loads of downside. If we do break to the upside today, can't really see on that chart. So if we do break to the upside today, we're up at the weekly highs, look. This could turn into a nice double top bounce today. But we've got that little high there. Then we've got another weekly level. So really looking at that area there to the upside. And then obviously off up to ADR today. But this whole move here, look, very, very difficult to find a decent support resistance in that. So once that high is invalidated, that low at 150 ADR is your next potential resistance area where we're going to find some orders. So there's a big void in these propulsion gaps. Tricky upside today. But at the moment, it doesn't look like we know where the hell we want to go. I've closed out 0.57% today. What have I closed today? Where are we? So Euro CAD. So closed out Euro CAD short. That one was from last week, basically. We didn't go anywhere. We had the news spike. It's been taking such a long time to get anywhere. That news spike really is the only reason that's in profit. Other than that, this thing isn't going anywhere for days on end. It's sideways, bit of news, sideways, bit of news. It's just not going anywhere. So I'm out of that this morning. Got out of that this morning, put it in the Telegram group. Pound odd exited today as well. I had a trailing stop put on this one. I'm looking for some pound strength to come through. We've got forecast GDP increase coming this week on Thursday. So I'm forecasting that they will possibly buy into that GDP number. So I decided to put a trailing stop on this one this morning, which I've got out of. So it's not a very big profit, but look at it. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 days. That's the distance we've done in 6 days. I'm really not interested in being in it anymore. So I got out of that one. And US dollar Swiss I exited today as well. That was on a trailer. So this was the third position. So that was the first entry on the H1M5 mean reversion. There was another one there, which I got out of. Scaled in twice and basically exited both of those with nice profit and exited that one with a profit. So all 3 trades profitable. We came down into propulsion. So I was worried about a propulsion gap bounce today. So I put a trailer on it and we have had a propulsion gap bounce, but it has resisted at the moment. So we're resisting this level here. So this could well continue down, and I was looking for a propulsion gap fill. So my target was down here anyway. It was so close to target, it just wasn't worth risking some kind of massive move up. So out of that one as well. So 0.6% banked, 3% drawdown. Pound US dollar holding so far today. Didn't get the break, annoyingly, but it stalled out in the propulsion gap. So I said this morning in the live room, what I'd like to see today is a break of that previous day's high. So we had the Asian high, which pushed up into the previous day's high and rejected away. We had that big, strong push through, which broke that level. And I said, if we can break that level, we've got a rally on our hands all the way up into that propulsion gap. They held it. So the limit orders have triggered off of the weekly high. So that's last week's high. That's the previous week's high. So the limit orders at previous week's high have triggered. So we need to see now if these 2 propulsion moves that we've had this week, there, and the one that we had this morning, obviously they pushed up out of that accumulation, bought it again, pushed up out of that accumulation, bought it again. We push down into this accumulation. If we can buy this and break that high, that breaks that weekly level, we're off. So we just need to see if there's enough sellers at the limits, at the weekly limit orders there to hold price. At the moment, we're doing a pretty good job of rebuying this propulsion move today. So we will see, but we've got to get out of this level by 1:30 tomorrow. Because 1:30 tomorrow, that US dollar could rally and this pound US dollar could come collapsing back down again. So we'll see. But yeah, it's going all right at the moment. Just can't break this high. So looking for a structure break above that high, and then it can pull back and rally up into that area there. See where we go. Other profit I've got on at the moment, Euro Swiss. Sorry, a 5-minute break, so I'm not even paying attention to. Oh, that's nasty. I haven't taken the NASDAQ because the range was 300 and my minimum was 301. Rules is rules. EA does what it says, and I told the EA 301 and it didn't. 69 was the range on the S&P. We got a 67. So no breaks. If you have taken the 5-minute ORB with the opening range breakout EA, you're probably in that short. You're not in the S&P yet. Bit of a whippy open, isn't it? But looking bearish on the Dow, which is good. Other profit I've got on at the moment, Euro Swiss. We are rejecting yesterday's high at the moment. We're 125 ADR. I was very close to pulling this off today, this Euro Swiss. But we are so close to the gap fill. I really think that gap fill is just going to get done. So I'm going to hold this for a move like that. What are we? 260, which is 460. So it's another $200. I'm going to hold it to that. And Euro New Zealand is the only other thing I've got on in profit at the moment. Again, I'm holding for the propulsion move. So if we quickly look at the news while we're waiting for the market to wake up a little bit. This morning, we've had quite a bit of talk this morning from lots of talking heads. So we had lots of IMF news coming out this morning. IMF forecasting bigger GDP increases, less recession, just nicer conditions, basically. So Russia would only resume nuclear testing if and after the US did the same. Good to know. Does that mean you're not going to shoot any at Ukraine? I don't know. So other news we've had some Bank of England news coming out. Nothing particularly exciting in any of that. OPEC, a little bit of talk, but nothing particularly impactve out of that either. Finland gas pipe leak. I didn't see that one. Finland gas pipe leak probe proceeding on premise of sabotage. All right, that's the old pipe. Yeah, we know about that. ECB steps up scrutiny of banks' commercial real estate loans. So there's just interbank stuff going on there. Apart from that, there was nothing much else. So really crappy morning for news other than forecast, which obviously was nothing. So hence why we've just had pretty normal price actions so far today. If you are taking the 5-minute ORB today, you are short on both. Dow obviously is already broken. So watching this level, I'm just going to watch the Dow because it's the only thing I'm in at the minute. So just watching this area here, this little propulsion move, which got retested twice, seems to be that we're breaking through it anyway. So that's your next stop. I'm just going to move my TPs up in case we double bottom that exactly. I've done a little bit in the video about manually adjust exactly what I've done there. Yeah, manually adjusting your targets. When you see the EA has placed a target there and there's an obvious pre-market double bottom, it doesn't make any sense. If it is going to get limit order triggers off the pre-market bottom, it isn't going to get down to your TP, is it? It's going to get pushed away from that level. So I've done a little bit in the video about moving up, moving targets, basically, like this 5R here. Looks great, but a much more logical level for that 5R would be at 4R, because it possibly could react off of that wick. These propulsions could hold, and it could get bought out of those propulsion gaps there and pushed away before it gets to that area where there might be orders sitting, because once they broke that level, they would be looking to defend that level if we come back to it to continue that move up. So it doesn't make sense to have a 5R target when that is a more logical area. So just, you know, generally adjusting for support and resistance, but it's 100% discretionary. So up to you. But I've done a little bit in the video about it. It's a pretty complicated video. It's a complicated thing, hedging. Trying to explain it and explain the ways to get out of it, but we'll see. Make sure you have plenty of coffee. As usual, my videos, as you know from if you've got any of my other products, they tend to be 2 to 3 hours long. This one's only about an hour and a half. So in the grand scheme of things, not too bad. We just pushed back up. Really dicey market on the NASDAQ and the S&P today. Dow is holding these levels. We've got 1 minute left on these candles. If the Dow can't get through this propulsion gap, he says, just as it pushes through the propulsion gap. Okay. I was going to say, if it doesn't get through that propulsion gap, I'm going to close this out manually. Only reason being is I've got $1,800 profit from this morning, and I don't want to hedge this unnecessarily. The difference between me closing TP1 there and closing TP2 there is totally irrelevant from a financial perspective. It's just not going to make any difference long term. So what I don't want to do is, however, hedge myself into a $1,500 loss and wipe out this morning's profit from the DAX. So I'm just going to give this candle close a chance, but that propulsion gap is holding at the moment. I'm worried about the NASDAQ and the S&P movement, that's all. See if we can get down there. Let's get ready to close it out. See if we get a quick flush down, but if not, I'll exit that. Buying this level up at the moment. So just in case this is it and we're going to flip. It's protected with a break even, so locked in profit basically. Just in case. Right. So there's nothing much else moving at the minute. Euro New Zealand's pulling back again. Lots of wicks to the upside on Euro New Zealand. Just going to hold them all, I think. So we'll have a look through the ADRs and the RSI extensions, but there isn't a lot to look at today. Afternoon, Spencer. Afternoon, Mac. Alan. When am I releasing the video? Hopefully this afternoon. I've got half an hour's worth of editing to do on it, and then I'll get it uploaded to YouTube. So it's as long as it takes YouTube to render, which is normally no more than a couple of hours. It should be out this evening. But all the video is doing is it's going through this stock index hedge strategy, and then it's going through the indicator, the EA settings in detail. And then we have a look at some examples of trades. It's not my greatest work, I have to say, but it's there to explain how everything works. So it's educational in the fact that it will stop a load of questions. Afternoon, Crump. Right, so Euro Swiss is the only ADR we've got today. There's no weeklies still, no monthlies. So just the one hit today on the Euro Swiss, which is 125 ADR. So this is the long that I took yesterday on the H1M5 mean reversion with the market reversal alert EA. So we got the reversal alert yesterday. We've had another one this morning. So that's pushed up very nicely into ADR, up to 125 ADR. This is a gap play target. However, I don't like the way that this is reacting off of that level. So obviously we've pushed down into that. Sellers have tried to get through that level. Buyers have resisted. Sellers have tried again. Sellers have tried again, tried again, tried again, tried again. We gapped. Buyers have tried to get back through the gap. Sellers who were trying to get through this level are pushing them away. So we are obviously in a downtrend on this Euro Swiss at the moment. So not the nicest looking price action, considering I'm long from here, but out of this accumulation. So this is the price discovery failure. After a failure in price discovery, we quite often go back into accumulation and then try a price discovery in the opposite direction. So I'm not really liking the price action on this where we are at the moment. I'm trying hard not to take it off, but I don't really like it. So I think what I'm going to do, I'm going to break even it. Just it's going to take an awful lot to drive this back down 125 ADR again today. So I think it's probably safe. This propulsion move, so we got this multi-day accumulation, which is the propulsion move this morning. Hopefully we add some more positions into that to get up into this area. However, if that sell there is going to hold and that add into that sell is going to hold, we're coming down. So there's no point in taking a loss on it. Not quite big enough profit for me to actually warrant taking a TP on it either. So 125 ADR, there's your reversal alert this morning. So there's ADR. This is the first reversal alert so far today, nice and tight. I'm hoping it invalidates it and flies to the upside. So if you're taking this short, I hope you lose. But either way, we're looking for roughly half an ADR, which is about 20 pips from the break, which is there. So you're looking for that propulsion gap. So where I'm looking for the buyers that broke that accumulation to step back in and add to the positions, drive up to here, you, if you've shorted it, would be looking for a TP in that zone. Yeah. That's Euro Swiss. That's the only thing we've got on ADR to look at today. We looked at the RSIs this morning. There's no hourlies again today. We've had some decent movement up. We've had some decent movement down. But as you can see, a lot of this movement that we're experiencing at the moment is very, very, very much up, down, up, down, up, down, going absolutely nowhere. So the RSIs on the hourly, we're not finding huge opportunities at the moment. This one, obviously, from yesterday I took, but not masses of opportunities on the RSIs at the minute. So there's nothing to look at on the hourlies. The 4 hourlies, we've only got two. One is the Swiss yen, which is extended to the upside. Not quite extended enough for me on the hourly, on the hourly, yeah. But the 4 hourly, we are up there again. We're talking about divergence in the Telegram group this morning. Someone was mentioning about volume divergence. There's nice divergence on the RSI. There's many different versions of divergence, but they're all just confirmations, basically. So this is extended on the RSI. We're at a nice propulsion gap. So this is the Swiss franc. No, it's not the Swiss franc interest rate. Is it? That was a couple of weeks ago, yeah. So that's the Swiss franc interest rate, which we retested, and obviously the yen stepped in. So I would be much more inclined to short this. So it's a good level for shorting. That would be a better level for shorting up there at 125 ADR. So if we could get up to there today or tomorrow, that would be a lovely little short. But equally, it's a good short from there, and you can add a second up there if you want to. But I wouldn't want to be longing anything against the yen, as you know, at the moment, not with that intervention or whatever it was. If that doesn't work, which it doesn't seem to be, and we get some rallies off the US dollar, they're going to want to do that again. So I wouldn't want to be particularly longing anything at the minute. But anyway, that's the extension on the 4-hour. The US dollar Swiss is also extended on the 4-hour to the downside. So this is a nice bounce. As I say, I got out of my US dollar Swiss today. The shorts off of the previous extension on the 4-hour and the hourly. So there's your pullback. Now we're looking for next leg up, potentially. However, it depends on tomorrow. So PPI tomorrow is forecast to be negative. FOMC will be thinking, what on earth happened with PPI and what are we going to do about CPI, which is also forecast to be negative. So they're expecting inflation to have come down tomorrow. On Thursday. They're expecting the PPI to have come down tomorrow. The Fed should be bearish about interest rate rises tomorrow because of these forecasts. So if we get a negative tomorrow and a bearish Fed and a negative CPI, the US dollar is going down. So this next 24 or 48 hours, basically, then we've got the unemployment claims as well. So this next 48 hours is going to be quite critical for US dollar movement. So where we are now, it looks technically like a beautiful 24 bounce in a trend. However, I see this as an M pattern reversal, pullback, drop. Just because the fundamentals at the moment should be bearish, but that is assuming we get bearish fundamentals. These figures could all come out as positive and the Fed could turn around and go, even if CPI does drop, it's not dropping fast enough. We want to put the interest rates up by 0.25%. US dollar's going through the roof. We haven't got a choice. So, don't know. Could go either way, obviously, couldn't it? So we're just waiting to see what Bostic's talking at the moment. Inflation, there you go. Inflation has improved considerably. There's still a long way to go to get to the target. More to do. Don't have recession. No, we know that. The IMF confirmed that this morning. He thinks inflation is the policy rate is sufficiently restrictive to get inflation to 2%. So he's basically saying we've probably done enough with interest rates. Bearish. So, you know, there is a bearish stance coming out of the Fed, although it is slightly bearish. It's not massively bearish. So if that is the case and you do get in long there and we don't get a rally up into there, you will be adding in on the way down, looking for that bounce. And you probably get one off the 72 if it comes all the way down to there. But that's it. That's all you've got on the RSI extensions at the moment. US dollar yen is still ticking up slightly today, not massively. So again, we're holding this propulsion gap. As long as we... Oh, there you go. Confirmation from Bostic. We don't need to increase interest rates anymore. So today, yeah, Thursday afternoon after CPI, he might come out and say completely the opposite. So read into that right now. Yes, that's the case. Thanks for subscribing, whoever that is. I can't see on the screen because it was white. Someone's just subscribed. That was weird. Somebody just subscribed, but it didn't actually come up on chat either. Weird. So anyway, thanks for subscribing, whoever you are. That's kind of bearish for the US. So just keep an eye. Yeah, which will be bullish indices. There you go. So that's a good TP there, I think, on that Dow because we didn't get down to target. Look, target was there. Might have just about hit target, maybe on that. I don't know. That probably would have missed me by a couple of pips, knowing my luck. So we'll just see. Market doesn't seem to be reacting massively to that. It's because Bostic said it. If it was someone else, it might be a little bit more impactful, but we'll see. Wait until he's finished talking. We might get a reaction off the back of that. So US dollar yen, obviously, at the minute, still got the shorts on, still holding them. We are now in a range. This is exactly what happened after the intervention in October last year. We went into a range and then the market collapsed. We need a catalyst. Tomorrow and Thursday could be the catalyst that drives this. And then we'll just basically pile out the US dollar, jump onto the yen, and off we go. See what happens. Will it be on the website? Yeah, be on the website. The video, yeah, be on the website and on YouTube. So on the on most of my products, you have a video basically. So same with the opening range breakout. So it will go on here. And obviously it'll be on YouTube. So you want to stick everything. Jimmy, I'm not tech savvy, and that's the only reason I haven't bought any of your EAs or alerts. There is a free demo on MQL5. Is it easy to try? Well, that's a question I used to get asked, and when I was a web designer, I used to get asked all the time by customers, is the admin area easy for me to change content? I don't know. How thick are you and how clever are you? Because whether something is easy is different for every person, isn't it? For me, it's a piece of piss because I've been doing it for 10, 15 years. But for someone that's not tech savvy, I can't really answer whether it's easy because it's not down to how stupid you are. I mean, I never said that to a customer, obviously, but it's not down to how clever or stupid you are. It's how much you know about the product you're using, isn't it? So with the strategy tester, when you buy or download something from the marketplace, it automatically goes in and becomes selectable in the strategy tester. Yeah. So you just select the product in the strategy tester, which you can't see. So you just select the EA you want to test in the strategy tester. You select the symbol. Select every tick. You select the date you want to test. And if you set it in visual mode, it will go on there. Yeah. The settings are all in expert properties. So you just set it up as you want to. And literally hit the start button and watch it. That's it. It's that easy. So yeah, it is easy. But I mean, that's literally all there is to it for testing. For configuring, everything is in the manual. Yeah, so this manual here goes through every single input, how to find the open of the day. The video goes through all this as well. The video goes through every input, tells you exactly what's going on, the logic behind it, why it's there, how it works. So I can't get any clearer than writing a manual which goes into detail about every input, doing a 2-hour video about everything. It's clear as I can make it. So can't really answer that question, Jimmy, because everybody's different, aren't they? Different people have different learning curves with everything. Yeah. Some people find trading really hard. Some people find trading really easy. Some people find it hideous. I'm a bit of both. But yeah. If you're using MT5, I would say dump it and go to MT4 for a start, because MT5 is infinitely more complex and hideously slow and terrible. That's my opinion. Colonel Pinecone, down we go. What? Break even on the second half of the S&P, of the Dow. So 1,700 off the DAX, 600 off the Dow today. No trades on these two, which I'm very glad about because they would both be hedges. So if you are in these two, NASDAQ, let's have a look on the other chart. NASDAQ today. So ADR is basically this propulsion gap. So we've got this propulsion. So this support basically, that was a 2-hour move to drive through that level. And we sat there for 2.5 days before we shot down. So upside on this today, you've got this area here, which is the high of 3 weeks ago. So this is basically the high of 3 weeks ago is pretty much where we opened, which was that low. So that is a pretty good support resistance level, which you've got to the upside, which is somewhere around 15,270-ish, 15,280 to the upside. So that's where I'd be looking for potential bounce play. So if you take profit on longs there, if you're hedged, obviously, take profit on longs there. If you're long only and you stopped out on the short, take profit there, and your quid's in anyway, aren't you? Depends which product, how you're trading, doesn't it? S&P, we've got a lot further to go. So S&P, you're looking at the middle of that propulsion gap, which is 125 ADR as your next potential resistance. So this area here, this high, which is exactly where we are now, if we break that high, there is nothing but clear air there. We just literally, from that break, we dropped. And then we stopped there and bounced. So this area here is support, a resistance. Other than that, it's 125 ADR. There's tons and tons of room to the upside today. So both of these, don't get out too soon because there is an awful lot of movement to the upside. We had such a tight little Globex session today. I mean, the range in Globex today, 14, yeah. That's less than a quarter of an ADR. A quarter of an ADR is 17 on this. We only did 14 in Globex. So this thing didn't move all day today. We are literally flatlined. So there's a lot of volume available for the market to use today. So we could get a big running day today. Just be a little careful getting out early. Don't get scared out of the market. So if that's running to the upside, I would suspect that the US dollar is coming down, which is good. Because that's what I want it to do. Brent, can we check oil? Yeah. So I've got a long on oil at the minute, which I took yesterday. We're waiting. It looks to me like the gap fill is going to happen, but we're not going to get any crude inventories. Don't come out until Thursday this week at 4 o'clock because we're on a bank holiday from yesterday. So took initial long yesterday morning, looking for a push down into gap fill. Once the gap fill is done, I'm going to take a second, average in, and then look for a push up from there. So if we don't, and we just stay range bound for a day or so, I don't care, that's fine. But if we do break down, I'm adding a second at the gap fill. That's my point of no return, this low. If we break this low and don't come back above it pretty much the same day, I don't hold up much hope for oil. When I took this trade yesterday, obviously everything kicked off with Hamas and Israel on Saturday. The reason I got very much interested in this yesterday is because if that does expand that conflict, the price of oil is going up through the roof. Conflict is always good for oil pricing because we get restricted supply and massive demand increase with military vehicles. So you get that constricted supply where all of that area, Russia and Ukraine and all of that Middle East area with the Saudis and stuff, oil production, oil pipelines. Conflict means we get restriction in all of that supply. You can't move things around as well, which means delays. Delays means stockpiles going down. Stockpiles going down means prices going up. It's a supply and demand based product. So if that does spill out, this is going up. If it doesn't spill out, it could well just pop back down again. But the reason for this gap is because of what happened in Israel over the weekend. This is the market panicking about supply demand problems. It may not happen. If it doesn't happen, we should be starting next leg up anyway, because we were expecting next leg up, because we shouldn't be putting in anything more than that level. Yeah, if we're going to pull back and rally up to $100 a barrel, which is target, that's what we should be doing. So this is a nice deep pullback on that $95 Brent bounce. So yeah, I like it long. There's one position on at the moment to test the water, and then we'll see where we go from there. Jimmy, am I okay following instructions? What does the free demo allow? It just allows you to trade in the strategy tester. So you can use the product in the strategy tester. It's not, there's no restrictions on anything. When you download any demos from the marketplace on MQL5, you get the full product. it only works in a strategy tester. You can't use it, obviously, because it's a demo. So you can't use it. You just use it in the strategy tester. So it's for you to basically be able to play around with it, see what would have happened if you used it, see how it works, demo it. It's like test driving a car. You've got to take it back to the dealership. If you don't hand over any cash, you don't get to drive it. You can drive it in a simulator. Mamba FX told me trading is easy, so it must be. Yep. Well, if Mamba FX told you, it must be true, because everything's true that Mamba FX says. I've never watched any of his videos, and I don't need to. I can tell instantly. Sometimes you look at someone and you think, you look like a trader. Sometimes you look at someone and you think, you look like a rapper. People look at me and they think, you look like a rapper. So he must be a trader. Using MT4, but quite new to it. You just got to play around. Can I check UK 100? No, haven't got it. I don't have the FTSE. I can check it on another platform. I don't trade the FTSE, and you shouldn't be trading the FTSE because it's the US session. You trade the FTSE in the morning. Yeah, this is a London, Frankfurt instrument. Yeah, London, Frankfurt, New York. This is where the volatility is. You don't trade the FTSE in the afternoon. Got some trades running on here. It's just loads of testing. What this is doing. But yeah, FTSE breaking out the highs. I don't know. I just wouldn't trade it. I'm a rapper. Yeah, look. I've got gold. I've got bling. Instantly, look, I'm a rapper. This is all you got to do. All you need to do if you want to turn yourself into a rapper or professional trader in Mamba FX's case is put loads of gold everywhere. Instantly, you look like a trader. Is my British sarcasm not rubbing off? I forget this is the US session. Americans find it very hard to understand UK humour. We are very dry. Boring, some may say. I'm not a rapper, no. Are you keeping your UJ TPs all the way down there, or are you looking to pull it up a bit? So, yeah, UJ. My TPs are miles away, basically. Not for any reason. I'm not expecting them to get hit. That's the reason they're down there. I'm not looking for them to get hit down there, obviously. If we're going to get an ADR intervention of 600 ADR, which is what you would expect, we're looking at 600. So we'll be looking at something in the region of that. So that would be an intervention. So this was only 400. 400 to 600 ADR, percent of ADR is an intervention. So that's where we'll be looking to come down to within a couple of hours. So somewhere around there. If we got down to here, though, I would be taking TPs. In fact, at the moment, if price was to this week, make a mess. If this week we were to manage to get down to here on US dollar weakness news, I would take some off down here. I'd probably take that one off down there, maybe even take that off down there. I don't know what the profit would be. Depends. So that position down there would be $800. So that's only 0.8%. So it's just under 1%. So add that into the mix, you're probably looking at 1.25% on those two positions. So, I mean, if the US dollar gets negative news and it comes down into there, I would probably take it off, because the reason I'm shorting this is because of because of yen intervention. If this just moves down because of US news, that doesn't mean it's going to continue to move down. If it moves down on yen move, yes, it will do. So yeah, I'll put a couple of TPs there and I'll leave that one on for a runner. Then I'm adding another position if we break that low with them, off we go. But we'll see. I don't know. I don't know what's going on with it at the moment. It's just not doing anything, is it? So I've been watching the P&L on it this week. Flip-flop literally between $400 profit and $400 loss. The problem with the US dollar Swiss is the swaps. The US dollar yen, rather, is the swaps. If you look at the swaps on the US dollar yen, I'm already $300 into swaps on this thing. It's expensive to hold overnight, and I've held it for 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 days now. So it's becoming too expensive to hold. So I kind of want to get out of it. You know, if price moves down to here, that isn't even going to be break even because of the swaps. Expensive US dollar yen. Need to put on my gold chain, yes. I look like a bartender. Thanks for that. Yen swaps are crippling. Yeah. This is, you've got to, when you get to a certain point, you've got to look at the swaps and go, enough's enough. If something's going sideways for that long, you just need to, at some point, pull the plug. Just not cost effective to hold it. So I'll see. It's going to take news to do it, isn't it? Nothing we can do about it at the minute. I felt like I could have take 1 to 2% on UJ and got a better entry. Ifs, buts, maybes. You didn't. I could have held instead of getting out on the news. I didn't. Still made money, but I could have made more. These two trades here, at the moment, have basically paid for my swaps. So I think the profit on those two is about $500. So 3, 4, 450. So I'm $450 up on those, and I'm $450 in the hole, including swaps on the current open positions. So at the moment, I'm just sitting at break even on swaps. But if it pushes down, you know, all we need is a bit of US dollar weakness or a bit of yen strength overnight in Asia, and we'll find ourselves back down here again. If we get down to here before the news, I will probably get rid of it, because the whole play, don't forget, on this was the intervention move and continuation. We haven't had it. So the trade is invalid anyway. It's gone. So Wednesday triple swap. Wednesday pain day. Right, that's all I've got on FX. Everything else is just a mess. Dow's flown out the highs. So nice break on the S&P. Well, that's close, isn't it? So you may or may not have got triggered on that S&P, depending on your offset. That's close. I would say I don't know. I wouldn't have got triggered on that. That's only 8 pipettes. See, I used 10. I wouldn't have triggered on that. That would have just missed me short if it had taken that. If that had been 2 pips higher, I'd have taken that, and I would have just missed that entry, and we would have had a 2R long win today. So if you're trading the opening range breakout EA, that would have triggered you possibly short. You would have stopped out on the short, flipped long, and happy days. You're 2R with a 1R loss, so you're what? You're positive 1R. If you didn't trigger on that because of the offset, you are long only with a 2R win. NASDAQ, you definitely got triggered on a hedge or a stop out today. So this was a short, long, short, long, depending how you've got your EA configured. So you either took a 3R negative and the continuous mode got you back in and you're now long, with 1.5 hour. So you'd be negative 1.5 hour at the moment on it. Or you're hedged and just waiting. But that was close. But this is mechanical trading. Does what it exactly is told to do. And it was exactly told to take a range of 301, which is exactly 10% of the average daily range. And it was 1 pip under 10% of the average daily range. So saved me today. Tomorrow, yesterday, could be a different story. This is how close this is. Yeah. When we're talking about back testing strategies, you know, and I run all these back tests. This is the reason I do system parameter permutations. Yeah. So system parameter permutations, one of the parameter permutations you can run is an offset. So what if I'd have taken a 10, 20, 30, 40, and 50 offset on the range? What impact does that have? If all of those are profitable long term, it doesn't matter, does it? So if that had been a 299 instead of a 301, it wouldn't matter. Yeah, this is what system parameter permutations are all about, is there is never going to be one setting that works. But if there is one input that you can test 10 variations of, and with another input test 10 variations of, and therefore get 100 different permutations of those two combined, and they all come out as a profit, it doesn't really matter, does it? The days you miss these and the days you get them, some you win, some you lose. But overall, long term, that's what system parameter permutation testing is all around. It's all about. Yeah. But hey. So hold the longs, basically. As I say, you got a long way to go to the upside. There is no stopping this NASDAQ. There's no reason for this NAS to go anywhere but there. You're out. We hit it. We found some resistance. We've broken it. There's just nothing to stop it now. Still there. So hold it. That's a hell of a trade as well. From a risk reward perspective. Can't even get to it on that chart. So it's 4.5 R, 5 R. Nice trade. If it works. How do you calculate swap cost? Google. Your brokers are all going to be different, so Google. Ask your broker. To be fair, though, they waited a long time before they dropped it last time too, yeah. So the last intervention was a hold for a long time. Not for a long time, it was a week or so. Yeah, 2 weeks. So that was the main intervention. And then we basically did the 50% retracement, which is exactly what we've done now. Then we held 2 weeks. Then we hit them again. So, you know, where we are with this one, pretty much the same. Hit 50% retracement. Yeah, we got this week of potential that, but we don't know, do we? We don't know. I'm not getting the feeling. Look at the previous interventions, yeah, and look at the candles. So the candles are your clue as to whether or not this was a decent intervention, move or not. Where the hell am I? I don't know where I went then. I'm on the wrong currency. What the hell? Here's my disabled MT4 today. So look at the intervention candles. Yeah. Very big, strong down move. Very big, strong down move. Yeah. So that whole move there was 2 hours of solid selling. A little bit of a retracement in it. Yeah. So we pushed down, pulled up, pushed up, pushed down. So there was definite selling pressure on it. Yeah. Then look at the second intervention. Huge 600% ADR move to the downside, followed by the 50% retracement. But look at the size of the propulsion candle. Yeah. Look at the size of the third move, the propulsion candle. Look at this massive wick we got. How bullish that is. And look how the tiny little bear move is. Not as strong by a long shot, is it, to what we got before? We've had stronger news events. I'm not convinced. But it's going to go one way or the other. FTSE gave 5R today. Played it with the new SIHEA. Good man. Well done. Good job. Let's have a look. I haven't got the FTSE on there, but I have here. Oh, God, it doesn't even show you the time. Look. I hate MT5 with such a passion. I can't move the line because MT5's crap. So there's your pre-market range. Just about to see that, can't you? There's your pre-market range. So there's your break, retest, off we jolly well go. If you took the 5-minute opening range, it's thick. If you took the 5-minute opening range break only and didn't take the pre-market, we basically sat. That's lovely. Look at that. Inside bars. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 25 minutes worth of inside bars on the initial opening range. Then we took the 5-minute ORB long. But the pre-market range was either, I don't know, it depends. I don't know what the ADR is on this, but it was something around there. That was your break. A very nice break on the FTSE this morning. Very good. Coming down on the US at the minute. Might be a better yen strength, actually. Difficult to tell whether this is US weakness or yen strength. Looks like it's US weakness, this. Everything's pushing against the US. It's not particularly strong, but we'll see. Crude oil down to 80? No, up. It might come down interim, yeah. Yeah, so possibly. So this is this low here is 80.5-ish, 80.6. So yeah, it could come down to $80 a barrel, which is where we stalled out, 80.5 on the pullback. So it's either going to do the gap fill and then it's going to go from the gap, or it might come down and double bottom. If it comes down, if it doesn't come down, it go up. Sounds really obvious, doesn't it, when you think about it? If it doesn't come down, it will go up. But literally, that is what it will do, because it only has two things it can do, go up or down. 3 constants of trading. Price moves through time, and it goes up or it goes down. They're the only 3 things that ever happen on your chart. We go sideways, we go up, and we go down. It's really simple. Why is it so hard to make money on something that literally has a binary outcome? Up or down? Why is it so hard? Because it's just as hard as flipping a coin, isn't it? You try that, see how many times you win. Jimmy, Lee, in the strategy tester, can you alter the lot size? Yep. You found the answer already, yeah. So that you can, everything, literally everything you can do with the EA, you can do in the strategy tester with the EA. You have exactly the same inputs, yeah, as you do in the EA. This is the whole point of the strategy tester, is to test the strategy. So you can play around with it, do whatever you want with it. Say, I don't fancy using a 0.1. I want to use 20 to 40% of the range. Yeah. And then test it, see what it does. What difference does using 20 to 40% make? I don't think I've ever tested it. Probably won't take many trades because the chances of getting a 20% range are probably quite tricky pre-market. And if it did, I wouldn't want to trade it. Oh, there we go. We've got one there. Yeah. That's exactly why you do not use big ranges, because if the market can put in 20 or more % of its range in one candle, it's going to find it pretty damn hard to go anywhere because it's just done it. There's only a certain amount of liquidity in the market every day. If it uses 20 to 40% of it in one candle, shot, it's exhausted. It's the whole premise behind the 10 to 20%. That's all, that testing's all been done. That day it did. Unfortunately, you got hedged on it though. You're going to struggle on those big days. But yeah, test stuff. That's what it's there for. Oil coming down again. Do you select period M5? Yeah, M5. It's got to be on M5. It's a 5-minute strategy. Did William Shakespeare actually exist? Well, there's a random question. As far as I know, yes, because he's got a whacking great theatre in London called the Globe. I've no idea. Yeah, I'm sure he did. Because he wrote a load of plays, didn't he? Unless it was some other bloke called Bob Smith who went under the pseudonym of William Shakespeare when he was writing. But other than that, yes, these plays didn't magically appear from nowhere. I seem like a man with the answers. I don't know. Honestly, I don't know. But yes, he did. I do know. Of course he did. He's a historical figure. Like Henry VIII. Did he exist? Prove it. Got any photos? No. Got a painting? Well, anyone can do that. Anyone can do a photo these days. One of our leaders in the UK, for those of you that aren't in the UK, leader of the Labour Party, basically, they deep faked him during his party conference, slagging off one of his members of staff and shouting and swearing at them. And this was basically all produced by AI in deep fake and then put out on the internet. And you cannot tell the difference between his voice and this voice that AI generated. So don't believe anything these days, but back in the old days when they did paintings of people, I think that's probably as good as a proof you're going to get that they existed. I don't know. That's the weirdest question I've ever been asked in a live stream about trading, but you know. Somebody just reminded me, actually, we were talking about volume in the Telegram group to do with stock indices and stuff. You can't use this volume in your broker because it is just your broker. Yeah. So this volume here that you see is the volume of being put through the Forex servers right now. So if you think about this, because someone was looking at using it as volume divergence, which is an old strategy by Paul. Forgotten his name. God, I'm useless for names. You have to look him up. Paul. Dr. Paul. David Paul. Sorry. So yeah, but he traded futures, and futures have a centralized exchange. So what you see here is what's being put through Forex. If you use a tiny broker that only has 10 clients, yeah, that volume is going to be totally different to a large broker like Forex, which has got tens of thousands of clients. Yeah. So you can only really use this as a general guide. It isn't actual volume being put through the market. It's being put through your broker. Just be aware, if ever you look at any indicators, EAs, or anything that pertains to work on volume, if you're trading in MetaTrader 4, you cannot access true volume. You only access broker volume. So utterly useless. Well, not utterly useless. It gives you an idea, but it doesn't give you the exact. So if you see divergence here, I might see a flat line where you see divergence. You'll be taking a trade and I'll be going, yeah. Just been asked that quite a few times, but you just got to be careful with any volume you see in a broker platform. So nice break, still continuing on those two. So I'd watch these two for continuation moves today. As I say, we've got plenty of room to the upside. ADR is miles away on both of them. However, I would say the chances of hitting ADR today, considering we've got massive news coming out for 2 days solid, probably not going to want to go all the way to a massive move day today, but we'll see. Anything can happen. This US dollar could absolutely collapse today, which would be absolutely lovely. But anyway, we'll see. Just taking the mickey of all the questions you get asked about the EAs. Yep, that's fine. I'm used to it now, though. Like I always say, no question is stupid until you ask it twice. If you ask a question twice and you've already got the answer, you're stupid. Nobody has ever asked me if William Shakespeare existed, so therefore it is not a stupid question. But if you ask me again, you're stupid. You have to Google it. I don't know. Anyway, I'll leave it there. I've got nothing much else to talk about today, as you can tell, and I've got that video to finish off. So Euro Swiss is the only other thing that I've got potential to bank today. If we get the gap fill, we're at 125 ADR, so I think it might struggle a little bit to get up to 150 today, but we'll see. Other than that, everything else is just sitting. We're sitting and we're waiting at the moment for the news tomorrow and Friday. So tomorrow, overnight-wise, we've got no news overnight to worry about. We've got Wallace speaking later on this evening. Bostic's just obviously been speaking today and has kind of G'd up the market a little bit, saying that we don't want to increase rates anymore, which is obviously going to drop the US. So you may find, if that comes out and gets confirmed by Waller this afternoon, we may get a little bit more negativity coming through in the US. So there could be some movement in the US today based on talking heads. But tomorrow's PPI figure is going to be one of the first movers of the week. So we'll see where we go for that. It is only the producer price index, so it's kind of God, my brain. Not industrial, not archaeological. What's it called when you grow stuff? Agricultural. It's agricultural producer price index, basically. So, but it is a precursor to the consumer price index because it all flows through. So if PPI comes down, you tend to find CPI has also gone the same way. So we've got that coming out tomorrow afternoon, 1:30. That's an hour before market open. And then we've got Wallace speaking after the open, followed by FOMC. But if you go back and look through previous FOMC days, you tend to find very much that. Because until FOMC meeting minutes is out, which is a precursor to potentially what might happen moving forward for the US dollar, we don't tend to get a lot of money moving through the US. There is no press conference tomorrow, though. So that meeting minutes there is written notes, basically. This is what we were talking about. And as soon as that is released, they'll be looking through it and going, what are they talking about with rates? Are we potentially going up or down with rates? Or are we staying the same? As soon as they've digested that, we will get a market move. So big day tomorrow, but it is spread out throughout the entire day. So it's not going to be one big move. And then obviously the next day is more important. That's CPI. This is the key figure. This is the key figure that drives interest rates. And the interest rates are the key thing that drives market movement. So we'll see where we go off the back of those tomorrow. Can you start a charity so we can all donate? To what? You can donate to my beer fund. I don't mind having donations to my beer fund. That's all good. I don't need to, no, I can't. I've got enough work to do without starting a charity, but AZ, I was going, are we back to regular market movement? Things still feel really slow. No, I don't think we are back to normal market movement yet. These ADRs are still tiny. Look, New Zealand is still 138. Pound yen's overtaken it. Pound New Zealand is the largest moving instrument we have. Always has been, always will be. Always will be. I can't say that, but it historically is the biggest ADR we get. The pound yen has just overtaken it off the back of the intervention. But this is still half of what it normally is. So we are still contracted. We haven't expanded yet. This is the first year I've experienced where we haven't come out of August into an expansion. We haven't come out of September into an expansion in October yet. We're only 1 week in, but we've had 2 months of contracted market, which is not normal. So we also I haven't traded through an 18-month interest rate rise, which is about to end either. So I think what we're witnessing here is the stall at the top of the interest rate curve. Never had one before, so I don't know what it looks like. I think this is probably what it looks like. Think rounding tops, like we've got exactly what we've got on the screen there. Look. Yeah, rounded tops and rounded bottoms. Interest rates have been coming up for 18 months. Yeah, they have stopped increasing interest rates. They're freezing interest rates. Where are interest rates going next? Yeah, so you have high volatility during a market expansion during interest rate rises. We have uncertainty during interest rate freezes, and then we have expansion during interest rate drops. We are sitting there right now, waiting for someone to give us some indication as to when they're going to start this. I get the feeling, and obviously no one would have known this in August, but I get the feeling now, looking at where we are, that's probably what we're experiencing. Last time we had interest rates like this was back in the 70s. So, you know, no one's traded through this. Not normal. But what is normal these days? Just tried to test the EA, but it says cloud server switched off. I don't even know what, it doesn't use a cloud server. Cloud server switched off. I've never even heard that terminology. You don't test the EA on a server, you test it on your computer. My MT4, this is my computer, this is MT4, this is the strategy tester, this is the button to start it. There's no cloud servers involved anywhere. This is MT4. I don't know what that is you're doing, but it's nothing to do with this. Can't help you on that one, Ian. Google it. I don't know what that means. Have you considered changing RSI levels to adapt to this? No. I have, and I have done in the past. Last year, I changed the RSIs down to 14s. I didn't this year because we had enough signals. So what I tend to do is I watch the ADR dash, RSI dash rather. If we sit here for a week looking at this thing and every day I come in and go, nothing's moving, I'll reduce the RSI levels for 3 or 4 weeks because it means that we've gone into summer trading and contracted prices. I didn't do it this year because during August, we actually didn't have too bad movement. It was just fast up, fast down, fast up, fast down, which was great. September was very much the same, but there's nowhere near as many alerts as we normally get. So you could move the RSI down, but look at what happens when you do it. Yeah, so look at the entries that we've had on the RSI here. We had a long there. We had a long here, which I'm in now. You had one there. You had one there. You had one here behind my head as well. They all work absolutely fine. So why change it? If you move it down to a 14, what you will find is during this period here, you would have had a lot more signals. This is August. So you would have had a lot more entries to get into and a lot more profit. However, when you get in on that one and it doesn't work, you could get into a multiple week, month squeeze. which is why I don't like doing it, because what you're doing is you're taking signals on a very weak move. And if it's just a weak move, which is the start of a strong move, you're getting in at the very worst possible time. So I resist as much as possible changing the RSI because it can get you into big problems. But it's personal choice. There's nothing to say that my RSI settings are right. My RSI settings are my RSI settings. Someone's using a 14 RSI is their 14 RSI settings. What's to say it's any better or worse than mine? It's different. They'll have different trades. Whether or not they get in and out and make profit on them or manage them is entirely down to them, isn't it? So there isn't a right or wrong. There's not a right or wrong in anything in this industry. It's just in and out and hope the market moves in your direction. So any ideas about gold and silver? Gold will be going up at the moment because US dollar is going down. So will silver. I don't know where it's going this week because it depends on where the US dollar goes. If the US dollar goes up, it'll go down. If the US dollar goes down, it will go up. It's just the US dollar cross. Gold. Yeah. US dollar's coming down at the moment. My 5-minute chart isn't updating, but it was coming down. Pushing up a little bit now. My charts have all gone to sleep. I've bored them to death. But yeah, gold will just do the opposite to the US dollar. Sometimes MT5 does that. Wait a while. Oh, is that an MT5 thing you're talking about with the cloud server? Oh, right. Okay. Yeah. I don't know. I don't use MT5 because stuff like that. It's a massively overcomplicated, over-engineered piece of software that is a replica of something that is absolutely brilliant, has worked for 15 years and never has a problem. That's why I don't use MT5, because it's just pointless. Pointless. There's absolutely no advantage unless you have the desire to have something that gets bugged, goes wrong, and just takes ages to update anything. You look at any of my indicators on MT5, any indicators in general on MT5, and compare them to the MT4 versions. MT4 version is instant. MT5 version takes about 10 seconds to update. It's awful because they created a graphical user interface for it, which it doesn't need. It's a charting platform. It doesn't need to be high quality, high resolution graphics. They needed it because they needed indicators that wouldn't work in MT4 because it was designed to be a futures platform. But they didn't look at the futures platforms out there when they developed it and realized that everybody else's software is head and shoulders above theirs and totally free. Why would you use MT5? You've got things like NinjaTrader out there, TraderVate, TradingView. Why would you even use MT5? It's pointless. They're just really screwed up. But I have to release products for it because people want it. I don't know why. Less than 10% of the people that use any of my stuff are on MT5. Less than 10%, which means 9 out of 10 traders are still using MT4. And it ain't going to change because 90% of MQL5's revenue comes from MT4 installations. So they're not going to change it and say we're dumping it. I get asked this all the time. When are they going to dump MT4? When they want to go bankrupt. If you had 90% of your income coming from one platform and you had another platform that you thought was better, but 90% of your revenue came from there, would you sabotage your entire business just to force people onto something they don't want to use? Or would you carry on doing what you're doing and make a load of money? Not going to drop it. Virtually every broker in the world supports it. So what's the point? Just not as good. Sorry. I'll hold up a placard saying change my mind, but nobody's ever come up with a reason that will yet. So what goes into deciding between changing on RSI 21 to 14 as opposed to keeping it at 21 but changing the levels to 70-30? That's another option. So your other option is to reduce the levels on the RSI 21 to 70. There is no right or wrong. Yeah, I have no idea. I can't answer that question because it is just an option. It's like saying, do you prefer red or blue cars? Yeah, they're both car. If you've got two 911s sitting next to each other, one, a black, a white, a red, and a blue, they're all 911s. This is an RSI. this 80, 75, and 70 levels are just levels on the RSI. It's still an RSI. Whether you choose to get in at 70, 75, or 80 is a reason to get in. Whether it's the right or wrong reason depends on what the market movement is after you press the button. So there's no better or worse than anything else, because when you hit the button on the 70 level here, I didn't take it because I was waiting for 75. You took it, well done. Yeah. Whereas this, obviously, everybody took it. That one I took. That one I took. That one I didn't take. That one I didn't take. That one I didn't take. Good job, because it would have been a scale in over a period of a week and a half, but you got out. Doesn't matter, does it? Market goes up and down. Whether it goes up and down from a 70, a 75, or an 80 is total luck. It will go up and down from one of them. Sometimes it goes up and down from a 10. Look at that, 10 on gold. This is why I don't trade gold. Yeah, look at it. Totally wrong. If you got in on the 70, you got in there. Sorry, on the 30. On the 30, you got in there. If you got in on the 25, you got in somewhere around there. If you got in on the 20, you got in somewhere around there. If you got in on the 10, you got in there. They're all wrong. Doesn't matter, does it? They're all wrong. And then you look at another chart and they'll all be right. It's a reason. This is the strategy. This is what I'm talking about. You want to talk about system parameter permutation? Go and test the market reversal at CA over a period of a year on the hourly chart and use an RSI 21 and use an RSI 21, 30, 25, 20, and 10. Then use an RSI 14, 30, 25, 20, and 10. Yeah. If every single one of those works, that system parameter permutation test shows that the RSI strategy is robust. And it doesn't matter if you missed a trade, took a trade, went on holiday and missed the two winners, whether you took the 70, the 30, the 25, or whatever. When the market's dropped, the market pushes. When the market pushes, the market drops. All the RSI is measuring is relative strength between an instrument, between two currencies. So it doesn't matter which one you use. It doesn't matter whether you use the 14 or the 21, does it? They will give you totally different entries on something that will continuously move up and down. So whether you get in there long and you're wrong and you have to get in there and then get out there, or whether because you used a different RSI, you get in there and get out there with one entry. So that gets you in with 3 entries, that gets you in with 1 entries. What are they both? Right. If it had continued to move down for 3 weeks, what are they both? Wrong. Does it matter? No. Any difference? It does make a difference, but it only makes a difference on the timing. What are we not able to do as traders? Time the market, because it's random. So it doesn't matter which one you use, does it? You get in because a system or a strategy tells you to get in. Then you deal with what happens after the system and the strategy is executed the order. When will the RSI be updated? What do you mean? Oh, on the dashboard? Yeah, every time frame. So this is the hourly, this is the 4 hourly, this is the hourly. So this gets updated every 4 hours, this gets updated every hour. Every time a candle closes, it takes a reading from that candle. Yeah. Long-term view on the pound CAD. Israel has just fired into the Gaza Strip. Oh, Israel fires artillery in response to launches from Lebanon. Okay, so this is escalating. Lebanon has just fired into Israel. Lebanon, little lesson in geography. So Lebanon is just above Israel. Yeah, those guys That's Israel. That's the Gaza Strip there. That's the West Bank. So this is what they're fighting over. Yeah. That bit and that bit are supported by these guys. So these guys are fighting them, and them. Now they are. They weren't, but now they are. So Lebanon is supporting the West Bank and Gaza Strip. This is what everybody's been worried about, and this is why the oil prices are potentially going to skyrocket. If these guys get involved, that opens up conflict potentially to flood out into Saudi Arabia and all surrounding areas, meaning that all the oil in there is in jeopardy. So that's quite an important news event. We'll see how the market digests that, but obviously that's just a couple of rockets so far. But pound CAD, yeah. So sorry, pound CAD. So it's completely range bound at the moment. Yeah, there's no bias in either direction. Commitment of traders is +1 towards the pound, so they're ever so slightly longer on the pound than they are on the Canadian dollar. There's no retail and there's no fundamental advantage on either. So what you've got there is a commodity-based currency crossed with a service-based currency. So if oil rallies, pound CAD will come down. That's the key driver for this particular instrument at the moment will be what happens to oil prices. What's been happening to oil prices? They've been going through the roof. Canadian dollar will be going through the roof. Therefore, this will be coming down. So this is, again, dependent on what happens with oil. A lot of stuff is. Commodity pairs like the Canadian dollar are all dependent on that. So long term, difficult. There is no such thing, I don't think, as a long-term view anymore, right? Because it depends on what's happening with these fundamentals. Like I say, we're waiting. The market is waiting for this stuff to change. We're waiting for the interest rates to change. We're waiting for you to freeze your interest rates and become a 0.0 and join the rest of the club who have all frozen their rates. Then what we're doing as a market is we're sitting watching this inflation figure and going, if that ticks up, that needs to go up. If that ticks down and continues to tick down, they're probably going to push the button to drop it. First one to press the button to drop it loses. What do you think they're all sitting there doing? Holding over the button. Because if they press the button, their currency devalues. If their currency devalues, their GDP drops. Everything starts to drop. So it's a real difficult thing to forecast anything long term because this inflation figure is absolutely key, which is why we're looking at Thursday. When the CPI figures come out for the US on Thursday, that 3.7, which has gone up, if that hasn't come down, we're going to be in trouble. If inflation goes up, that US dollar is going to rally because that has got to go up to 5.75 or 6. So what's going to happen with the Canadian dollar one? We don't know. What's going to happen with the pound one? We don't know. What we do know is that the pound is 6.7%, the highest inflation in the world at the moment, and it's slowed down to virtually a crawl. So if that ticks up, the pound will get stronger. If oil ticks up, the CAD will get stronger. If that ticks up at the same time as that ticks up, we don't go anywhere. We get an accumulation. It's impossible to tell what anything's going to do at the moment. You just got to get on the bus and hold on. If you get squeezed, you get squeezed. Yeah. A little bit of a squeeze on that one. Out. Took 2 weeks. That's what'll happen. Just got to wait. Very hard to tell anything at the minute. But long-term pound, I wouldn't say is massively strong. Canadian dollar has got much more chance of strengthening up than anything at the moment due to oil prices. But we don't know what's going to happen. This conflict that we've got starting now, we've got Lebanon suddenly firing rockets in and Israel firing rockets back at Lebanon. So it's already started to kick off over that way, which is what everybody's been sitting there really worried about happening. That could all fizzle out. Hamas could suddenly open talks with the Israelis and they'll say, Lebanon, hold on, we're having a chat. Everything gets sorted out for another 2 years and we all go back to normal. Oil prices collapse. Russia go, screw this. We're spending so much money. We're going to pull out of the Ukraine. Oil is going to come down like a ton of bricks. What's going to happen in the next 6 months? I haven't got a clue. I don't think you can project anything more than a month at the minute. And even then, it's virtually impossible. This is why we're getting what we're getting. We're getting sideways movement a lot of the time because the market's just got nowhere to go. There's no long-term speculative moves. Look at the buyer scorecard at the moment. Yeah, I mean, it's still massively range bound, and everything that is trend based is so weak. Yeah, this goes up to 13. We've got 4s and 8s as the biggest possible, strongest buy we've got is an 8. Almost half of what we could possibly have from a fundamental bias on something. But the vast majority of stuff is just not got any advantage in either way. Therefore, it's not going to go in either way. So you just keep playing it when you get any kind of move in the knowledge that they will profit take that move to make some money. They'll just grab money where they can. That's where the RSI helps. It's just getting you in and out of stuff. We're holding at 3R on the NASDAQ at the moment. Still pushing though. Still got no reason to stop until we get up to that level. Same with the S&P. But we may not get there. We might just peter out. So let's see what happens today. Right, I'm going to get on with editing this video. It's 4 o'clock. I've only got an hour and I've got to go out again. So I'll be back tomorrow morning, 7:50 for the Frankfurt session. We'll trade the DAX as normal. Back tomorrow afternoon. We'll obviously check out the US. We'll keep an eye on what's going on here. This could escalate quickly. Go back and look at what happened when the Ukraine conflict kicked off, and you'll see what potential moves we've got coming. The stock market could collapse through the floor, and US dollar, yen, and Swiss could just suddenly go. There'll be a lot of movement as they protect capital, depending on what happens. But at the moment, it's skirmishes. So main news tomorrow, PPI. So be prepared for that, 1:30. But tomorrow morning, obviously, there's nothing. So we'll come back tomorrow and see how we're getting on. Everything else that I've got, I'm just monitoring at the moment, waiting for something to go somewhere so I can get something in the bank. All right, so have a good day. If you're not subscribed on YouTube, subscribe so you know when I'm putting the video out about the stock index, hedge, EA strategy, etc. I'll post it in Telegram as well, and I'll post it on all the socials when I put it out there. But yeah, I'll get that done either tomorrow morning if I don't finish it off tonight, or tonight if I can. I'll let you know when that's done. All right, so have a good day, have a good evening. I will be back tomorrow morning, 7:50 and 2:20 tomorrow afternoon for the New York session as usual. Anything you need, come in Telegram, and I will see you then. Have a good one.